You talked about the spending that Obama's doing for the next 10 years. Well, hopefully he's going to be there for 10 years.
Amen. And hopefully, yes. And hopefully, come this November, with the help of all of you folks, we will be able to, at least at a bare minimum, defund Obamacare in the future. But I'm telling you, I've worked in the legislative process before. It is oftentimes more difficult once an entitlement is in the budget, whether they're expanding health care or welfare to able-bodied individuals, or illegal aliens getting welfare benefits in this country. Once it's in the budget, it is oftentimes more of a battle to get it out of the budget than to ever get it into the budget in the first place. And folks, if you think your anger and your blood pressure is high right now, just wait. Just wait until they try to give citizenship and amnesty to every illegal in this country.
Joe, hopefully, we talk about budget spending, and this year's budget battle in Michigan was a tough budget battle. They took money from stimulus that was for next year's budget and moved it forward. So as we move to Lansing and say no more tax increases, where do you think you're going to propose budget cuts to be done if we're not going to increase taxes?
Sure. I tell you, and I'm not in Lansing anymore. I served 6 years in the State House, and there was a ton of spending that I voted against. In fact, I was probably the most fiscally conservative, along with Jack Hogendijk, in my last term in office in particular, of any legislator in Lansing, and said enough is enough when it comes to spending. But we have a ton of corrections dollars that can be saved. And I'll tell you what, the state corrections budget, and that's the prison budget, is right about $4 billion. Almost 90% of that state budget, of that departmental budget, is made up in compensation and benefits. So when you hear the governor talk about letting people out of prison, there's very little savings in anything like that. Unless you can let everybody out, and you'd still have 90% of that budget, because these are union negotiated contracts. So we need to, number one, have an executive that will cut that. Bargain harder at the bargaining table. And there is not a problem with privatizing many parts of state government. Absolutely not a problem. We also have some of the most generous and lax welfare eligibility requirements of any state in this country. And Medicaid eligibility requirements. In Michigan, you can sit on welfare for 4 years without extensions. And if you qualify for an extension, which most folks do, if you're an able-bodied individual without children that are dependent on you, you can sit on welfare for an awful long time. And Medicaid is the same. We need to rein in, at a bare minimum, rein in those costs as well. And I think that makes up the difference in the state budget today from what's in the red currently. But stop the spending entirely. And if there is no agreement in terms of both parties agreeing in Lansing, I have never had a problem necessarily with an across-the-board cut.
About these cell phone veterans out there, they're giving free cell phones, $840,000, and 200 minutes a month free.
Unfriggin' believable.
Security guard.
This is the federal, if you look at your phone bill, there's a tax for the Federal Communications FCC, and they have a program that they're going and expanding into all these different states, and if you're on welfare, you can get your free cell phone that all of us, as ratepayers, are paying for.
That's right.
I didn't hear that. Your number will transfer to us, as you said.
Let's do that today.
Our neighbor received her cell phone. She's a landlord and property. She received a free cell phone.
This is the problem with an entitlement nation. Take a look at Greece right now. 1 minute. Okay, take a look at Greece right now. We're on that path, folks. We are on that path, and once you get entitlement into a population, take a look at Detroit, take a look at Flint, take a look at Saginaw. Once entitlement is built into a population, it is almost mutiny to get that entitlement away.
Sorry to change the subject, but how do you feel about term limits for state legislatures?
You know, I've always said the best term limit is an educated voter. However, when you take a look at what's going on, and particularly in Congress right now, it would only, 58 years, isn't that how long John Dingell's been in Congress? And Conyers has been there 43 or 40, unbelievable. So there's got to be a happy medium there, but I don't see it changing anytime soon.
What is your education background?
Sure. Oh, did you have another one?
What is your educational background?
Oh, I thought you had another question. I graduated from Fallowville High School, went to Lansing Community in Michigan State University for Agriculture, and finished up my education in financial planning from Clear University here in Ohio. Thank you. Okay, thank you. JoeHume.com.